Hi, everybody. Welcome to Summer Calc 2 at Pellissippi State. I'm your professor, Jonathan Lamb. I am the lead professor for the calculus sequence at Pellissippi. Absolutely love teaching the classes. I look forward to making sure that this is a good class for you this summer. You'll notice that you'll have quite a bit of problems to work throughout the class and the online homework. But one thing that I want you to see as we do the class is that everything that I ask you to do, I've already done myself. So anytime you run into any issue, trouble whatsoever, as you are attempting to do your work this summer, please look at what I've done. For every homework problem that you're assigned, you should see a very similar problem that I've already worked out and done a video and written solution of. So let me just go in and explain a little bit more about how this class is going to work. This is our homepage for the class. Calc 2 can be a hard class, but I'm hoping it can also be fun. So that's why I titled it here, Fun with Integral Calculus. I truly believe that students learn and perform better if they can have fun with the content. So one of my goals this summer is to make this an enjoyable class for you. And then hopefully, along with that enjoyment, comes a lot of effective learning of the content. So, this introductory little thing here, I will put the video that I'm creating right now after this bold print. Please watch my introductory video. So I'll place the video that we're watching here right below this. But like I already said, my name is Jonathan Lamb. I'm excited to work with you in this class. This can be a tough class. Often people think that Calc 2 is the hardest of the calculus sequence because we're going to take everything that you did in Calculus 1 and go backwards with it. The problem with going backwards is that in Calc 1, you have rules for everything. You have a quotient rule, you have a product rule, you have a power rule, you have a chain rule. You learn the rules, they always work. In this class, you're going to see that when we try to go backwards and take the integral or the antiderivative, um, there sometimes aren't nice rules to follow. We just have techniques. We have the substitution technique of integration that works sometimes. We have the integration by parts technique. We have partial fraction decomposition technique of integration. So those techniques, sometimes they work wonderfully, sometimes they fail miserably, and you don't know until you actually experiment with them. So uh, that can be frustrating, but also I think it can be fun in that this class is going to require a little more creativity of thought than a straightforward Calculus 1 class does. So my goal this semester is to get you to see that fun and interesting side of integral calculus while providing you a firm foundation of knowledge both conceptually and mechanically. We'll work a variety of problems, and as long as you try hard, you should get 100% on the homework problems because I give unlimited attempts at every problem. And like I previously already said, I've done a similar problem to every problem that you're assigned. Now, as far as your Calc 1 stuff, if it's been a while since you've had Calculus 1, you should go back and review your derivative rules because you can't work backwards and take the integral if you don't know how to take the derivative. So the ebook that we have, it has the first four chapters of the class, which would be the Calculus 1 material. Primarily, your derivative rules are in the chapter 2, when actually, sorry, chapter 3 portion of the book. So if you want to go back and review the chain rule, product rule, trig derivatives, all of those things, it's in the chapter 3 portion. You'll notice in the ebook, our content starts at chapter 5 onward. We'll work from chapter 5 through chapter 10 in the Calculus 2 class. Um, I've already got a lot of stuff posted, but anytime you can think of anything that you'd like me to do, please let me know. One of the main things I'm wanting you to know is that I want you to be comfortable reaching out to me when and if needed. I will be available to help you as much or as little as needed. If you don't need any interaction with me, I will not force it. I'm not one of those teachers that's going to force you to come see me in Zoom meetings or to participate in online discussion things. I don't ever want to waste my students' time. And some students may deem that a waste of time if they can do the content without having to do the Zoom interviews and the discussion posts and stuff like that. So instead, I want to create this as a class to where you can design it to however you want, much you want. If you want weekly interaction with me, then we'll meet on Zoom, maybe even daily. I'll be glad to help out as much as needed. But if you're okay with doing the homework and the tests every other week, then you might be able to do this class, like it says, very asynchronously, and we may never even meet virtually throughout the course. But that's totally up to you. I will be here to help out as much as needed. So, as I've said, I'll try to help you out as much as possible. You'll find lecture videos for each section, help videos for each homework assignment, PDF notes to accompany each lecture or help video. I have the author solutions manual posted. That's more so if you want to see other problems. Sometimes I have students say, well, I've done all of the homework, but I need some other problems to practice with. In that case, all you'd have to do is go to the ebook and go to the end of the sections, and it shows you what the traditional homework assignment would be. And then, since there's no solutions to that posted, you can go to the author's solutions manual and see what they have for each of the problems throughout the traditional homework assignment in the text. If you'd like to see my book homework solutions, I've posted those too. Now, those are not an assignment for us. Again, that's just if you feel you need more practice with problems other than what the online homework platform provides. One kind of bad thing about the online homework platform is that once you work a problem, it's done. You can't keep the credit for it and regenerate a problem and get more and more practice. That's why I've incorporated some of those other things to where if you do want to look at some other problems, you can. I've also included the author solutions manual, like I already said, and the PowerPoint notes from the book. The PowerPoint notes are what some teachers would teach the course from. I teach the course from my own handwritten notes just because I want to do my online class the same way I would do my in-person class. So I just write out my notes for the lectures that I have. But if you want to see what some teachers would teach from, you can look at the PowerPoint notes in the sections, and it would be a good alternate information for you so you can see what the author of the textbook would present as lecture material for each of the sections. Uh, like I said earlier, if there's something else I can make available for you, let me know. I'm always looking for ways to improve, and if you can let me know something I need to do that, I certainly will try to do it. Let's go ahead and look at the content and how our class is going to be set up. As you go into this, I'm going to go into beginning of semester papers first of all, and you'll notice I only have two things. The policy sheet that just lets you know, hey, how's the class going to run? And then the pacing guide, the class requirements. So as far as our policy sheet here, I have my contact information up here at the top. My office, and I will be on campus quite a bit this summer. So for those of you that's around, if you wanted to meet me in Haslam 2057, most afternoons, Monday through Thursday, you could let me know and we could meet in person. Probably 12 o'clock to say 4 o'clock most days would be absolutely fine. Give me a day's notice though. If you contact me day of and want to meet, I might have other plans or something. But with a day's notice, I'm sure we can work out something. Same thing goes for the Zoom sessions. So you can meet me in my office in Haslam 2057. You can also meet me on Zoom. I have this Math is Cool Zoom link here, and you would just click that, and we could meet at a predetermined time and go over whatever you need to discuss to make sure you're successful in the class. Sometimes it might just be a one-on-one Zoom session with us. Other times, if there's other students that, need some help, it might be a small group, one with, two, three students. If it's more than that, it's unusual. Usually I just work with two or three at a time or one-on-one, but it could be more. And I think sometimes students benefit from the questions other students ask too. But those are not going to have any set time. It's just for the summer, it's just when you contact me and we'll set something up. And if you contact me and I already have plans to meet with someone the next day, I may say, well, I'm meeting someone else on Zoom at 1 o'clock. Do you want to join us and ask your questions? And we could do something like that. Now, with the other things as far as contacting me, I would really like you to use the cell phone number here. Just text me the first time that you contact me, 865-604-2199. And I will always get back to you super quick, no matter what the question is. And you can also email me, the jwlam@pstcc.edu. You'll notice in my contact, I prefer these two because, again, I can get back to you very, very quickly. I don't like the email within Brightspace. Sometimes students will go up and select this uh, envelope and or else go to the course tools, and I think class list. Me and all of your students are listed on the class list, and they'll click that to email me. That is not ideal just because I can only reply to it if I happen to be in Brightspace myself. So I will reply to it, but your reply will be slower than either of these two methods. So I strongly recommend just contact me on the cell phone, and I'd always prefer a text on the cell, and or send me an email to the jwlam@pstcc.edu. Our class is integral calculus. We'll try to do real world problems, physics, engineering, economics, and biology uh, towards the end of the class. And at the very beginning of the class, we'll look at sequences and series. In 5.1, in fact, a lot of students struggle with the very first section because we get into infinite series at the very beginning. And then we hit it again in chapter 10. But the reason we do that in 5.1 is it's trying to get to the concept of what an integral is. Whenever you talked about a derivative, you said, well, a derivative is nothing more than an instantaneous rate of change. Well, an integral is nothing more than an infinite summation. So, what better way to show what an integral does other than looking at some infinite summations at the very beginning of the class? And that's what they try to do towards some of the end problems in the 5.1 homework. A lot of students struggle with those. So let me know if you do have any issue with it, and we'll help you out. But it's again, it's one of those where I'm hoping that you'll look at the homework assignment problems on Achieve, and then if you have trouble with it, looking at my homework solution videos of me working a similar problem. And I think that that will resolve most questions. And if not, then that's when we'll work together one-on-one or one with a small group, however helps you out. Now, if you happen to want a physical copy of the textbook that we're using, it is available in the Pellissippi bookstore for $40. It's just a loose leaf version of the book. Whenever you register for this class, you automatically are opted into the Achieve Homework platform that has the textbook as an ebook already on there, along with the homework management system that we'll be using. For this class, a calculator is not really going to be that beneficial. I would recommend TI-84. That's what I use. Well, TI-84 Plus is what I use. And you'll see it occasionally in the videos. I really don't stress technology that much just because I want you to know how to do the calculus by hand. I don't want you to depend upon technology to do the calculus for you. I want to know that you can do it. And because of that, that's why any of the Inspire or 89 calculators with a computer algebra system would be banned on any test. Whenever you go to take the in-person testing at one of our testing centers, they will just do a quick calculator check and make sure it's one of the calculators that's allowed, preferably the TI-84 because that's what everybody knows. But even if you have a Casio FXG series or something like that, it'll be fine, and it'll be whatever you're comfortable with, as long as it's within the range of allowable non-symbolic manipulation capability calculators. Now, as far as help resources, if I haven't already made it clear, I hope I'm your first point of contact. I don't want this to be the type of class where you feel the need. Well, he doesn't help out, so I had to depend upon my friend for help, or I had to go to the tutoring center because he didn't want to help out. That will not be the case in this class. I am very eager to help you out however you need. So another thing, you may think you have a friend who's really good at integral calculus, and they may be, uh, but they're not going to know what you need to know any more than I do. So I really don't think you'll find anyone that's able to help you out with my class better than I can, because they may start trying to show you a whole bunch of other things that you're not really going to be tested on in this class. And it might be great info, but not necessarily helpful information towards you doing well in this class. Now, sometimes, particularly in math, you do need a different, fresh perspective. We have a wonderful academic support center, primarily on the main Hardin Valley campus. During the summer, the help availability at the Calc 2 level at the other campuses may be kind of spotty. If you come to the Hardin Valley campus, there will always be somebody there in our academic support center that's more than able to help out with the tutoring of Calc 2. Our Brightspace page, I'll try to post everything on here that you need. If there's some things that students say, hey, it'd be helpful if you do this, then I'll upload that and notify everybody else and everyone in the class with an announcement that there's new material posted. As far as classroom policies and procedures, there's really nothing you need to do for attendance. This class is asynchronous, so the only really attendance that I'll be taking is your presence at each of the 4 required tests. So we have 8 weeks for this summer class. The way that I kind of figure it is that you do your homework and lecture videos one week, prepare and take the test the next week. So every other week. So this first week, preparation for the 5.1 through 5.6 test. You'll finish up anything that you need from 5.1 through 5.6 at the beginning of next week and go and take the test over 5.1, 5.6 next week, sometime between Monday and Saturday of the following week. And then every other week, we'll do preparation test for 8 weeks throughout the summer. Then the following 2 days after that 8th week, I'll have an optional final exam in the testing center that you only need to take if if you want to replace one of your earlier four test grades. So you'll have five test opportunities, and then I'll count your highest four of them. If you're happy with your grade after your four chapter tests, then there's no need to take the final exam. The final exam is just a fifth opportunity if one of those early four is low. Now, the way the homework works is it's on a platform called Achieve, and you'll see your ebook there as well. You'll have an assignment for every section that we cover. So as we start off, we're starting in section 5.1. Ideally, what I would like you to do is to go to my lecture videos posted here on Brightspace, watch my 5.1 lecture video, and then after watching the 5.1 lecture video, going into the Achieve platform, working out the Achieve assignment for 5.1, and then if you have any trouble with any problems, watching my homework solutions for the problems that you struggled with. And then, if that's not enough to help you out, contacting me and we work through it one-on-one to make sure that you're okay with the content of the sections. Um, now, let's see. Like I said earlier, every problem on your homework will have unlimited attempts. You'll be able to check with my Achieve work to see me do an example of a very similar problem. Now, your Achieve homework average will be worth 40% of your overall course grade. Now, if you think about that, you have unlimited attempts at every problem. You have an example of a very similar problem worked out by me, and then if that's not enough, then we can work the problem that you're doing together. That's all trying to get you to see is that as long as you work hard enough, you should have a very close to 100% for 40% of your overall course grade. So that really helps students out. And when you think about that, if you have essentially a 100 for 40% of your course grade, even if your test average is just a 50, which I hope it isn't, but even if hypothetically, if it was a 50, you'd still have a 70 C in the class. So if you do the homework as you should, then it's essentially impossible to make below a C in this class. Please contact me with questions, comments. Like I said, the email or texting my cell is the best contact methods. Tests, the four tests that you have will be worth 15% each of your final grade. Each test will be available in the testing center. You'll have a Monday through Saturday window. Now, there are two exceptions to that Monday through Saturday window. The Monday through Saturday window is valid for the first test and the fourth test. The second and third test have a holiday that interrupts the Monday through Saturday window. So instead of ending it on a Saturday, I wanted to make sure I didn't gyp you of any days due to a July the 4th holiday or a Juneteenth holiday. So I left it, I'm going to leave it in there through the following Monday, following that Saturday. And you'll see that listed on the pacing guide. I do not limit how long you can work on a test. I know some of you may have teachers that have had time limits on tests and stuff like that. I don't do that. However long it takes you to take the test, that's fine with me. Now, that's has to also be understood with the caveat of you kind of automatically limit yourself how much time you have by what time you arrive at the testing center. For most of the days of the week, the testing center is open 9 to 3. And notice, let's go ahead and click on that here. When you click on the testing center link, it should take you through here and down at the very bottom of the page. Most of my students will test on the Hardin Valley campus, but of course, if you want to check the times for any other campus, like notice Blount County this summer has very limited hours. It's Monday 9 to 2 and Thursday 11 to 4. Each of our other campuses will have times too. most students will end up testing at the Hardin Valley campus, the main campus. You'll notice most days of the week they're open at 9. Well, every day of the week they're open at 9 a.m. and then Sunday they're closed. Monday, Thursday, Friday they're open 9 to 3. And then Tuesday and Wednesday are their good days. They're open 9 to 7, so really long hours. And then Saturday, they're open 9 to 2. So, for example, let's say you go in and you take my test on a Saturday and you show up at 12 o'clock. You've automatically limited yourself 2 hours to take the test, which should be okay. I think it should be fine, 2 hours to take a test. But you've automatically given yourself that time limit because the testing center closes abruptly at the closing time that they have there. So if somebody was a slow test taker and they wanted to optimize how much time they took and they needed to test on a Saturday, you might want to show up at 9 a.m. and then you would have 5 hours. That would be way more than enough. But at least you would have the comfort knowing you could take 5 hours if you needed to. The final exam will be the last 2 days, July 21st and 22nd, only for those who need to replace an earlier test grade. The final exam will only be at the main Hardin Valley Testing Center. So my other tests will be at all 4 testing centers. So Hardin Valley, Blount County, Magnolia, or Strawberry Plains. So if you want to take it at any of those for the first 4 tests, it's fine. Just to make sure I get your final exam and can grade it before grades are due, I can only allow the final exam those last 2 days at the Hardin Valley campus because that's where I'm centered at. So I can easily just drop by and pick it up in person rather than having one of their testing center proctors deliver it and maybe delaying a day or two. So I don't want you to miss out having your final graded. So it has to be on the main campus only, but the first 4 tests can be taken at any of the 4 campus locations. Now, ways that you can ensure yourself a good grade in my class, obviously stay on track. I think it's probably even more important in a Calc 2 class just because we have a lot of students in this class who are pretty darn good math students. They've probably been extremely successful in math classes in the past, and a little bit of studying at the last minute might have benefited them. I think that you're going to see diminishing returns on that last minute studying in this class just because you need to see how the problems are worked. You need to understand, hey, there's no set rules. It's just some techniques that you need some you need some practice getting used to where if you try to just cram all at the last minute, you're not going to be able to do it. So I strongly recommend each of the periods that first week, like this week, make sure you watch all the lecture videos 5.1 through 5.6 and do as much of the homework as you can this week. And then next week, just finish up whatever you don't have left over, but hopefully not have to do too much. And then look through my practice test that I have for your first test. That was one thing I also didn't mention. For every test that you have in the testing center, I have a practice test, problem by problem, extremely similar. I would compare it to how your homework assignment is a regenerated version of the homework assignment that I work out that you can use as a resource to work your homework assignment. In the same manner, your test is just a regenerated version of the practice test that I have. If problem 1 says, integrate using right hand rectangles on the practice test, then The problem on the actual test will be another geometry problem where it says, solve the integral using, it could be the right hand rectangle rule, the left hand rectangle rule, or the midpoint rectangle rule, but it'll be something very similar to the problem on the practice. So problem by problem, they'll all be very similar. Let's see. As far as the grading scale, we're just on the 10-point scale. So uh, anything above a 90 is an A, 80 is the minimum for a B, 70 is the minimum for a C, 60 for a D, and below 60 have to fail. But like I said earlier, if you just keep up with your homework, which if you put enough effort into it, you should get a 100 or extremely close to it for 40% of your class grade. And then that really takes the pressure off of the tests. Uh, but if you're beginning to struggle at any part of this course, please see me immediately. Whether you contact me but with the email, with the text, and we plan to set up something on Zoom, or if you want to come and meet me in my office and go over things in person. I actually prefer to go over things in person. I feel like I can help out better one-on-one in person. But I'm more than willing to help you out if you're willing to put in the work. I just don't want somebody to struggle all summer long and then right before the fourth test say, "Hey, can you help me out? I need a really good grade on this test because I'm struggling." At that point, it's pretty much too late. It needs to be early on that you start to struggle, that we fix it at that point, and then maybe you don't need the last minute help towards the end of the class. Now, as far as other things on here, let's see, I'll go back up here, go back to beginning of semester papers, the pacing guide. Notice the pacing guide here, guys. Uh, like I said, the class will be asynchronous. I want to give you as much flexibility as possible to plan your study and work. There's no mandatory daily assignments. However, it's going to be at every 2 weeks during our summer class. There will be due dates for online homework on the Achieve platform and a test to take in one of our testing centers. And I went ahead and put the link to the testing center here so you can see the hours. Remember, on that page, you'll just scroll all the way to the bottom and select the testing center you want to use to see the hours for the center that you have. Now, as you go through each of the 2 weeks, notice this first 2 week set, first day of class. I'm making this video on Memorial Day. So one day before the semester begins. Today is May 26th. Tomorrow, the first day of the class, May 27th, you'll be starting the work for the sections 5.1 through 5.6. Ideally, you'll watch my lecture video for a section and then go in and work the Achieve homework for that section. All of those sections are going to be due by the June 7th. Yeah, Saturday. It must be complete. I always have due dates on Saturday for the homework. It's midnight Saturday for the homework. So not this Saturday, but next Saturday will be the first homework deadline. Now, I say that, but I have one other exception assignment that's just a training assignment that's supposed to get you acquainted with how Achieve works. Since it's just a quick little acquaintance assignment, I've set a due date of it of June 1st, which I believe is Sunday. So you have the rest of this week and the weekend to do that. Uh, Hopefully you do it the first day before you start your first assignment. Your first test covering those sections will be available in all of the testing centers beginning next Monday, the 2nd, going all the way through Saturday, June 7th. And you saw that on the main campus, the testing center is open till 2 p.m. on Saturday. So you'd have till 2 p.m. Saturday to take it. Usually, what I plan to do is I usually try to stop by the testing center right before the closing time on Saturday at 2 p.m. so I can pick those tests up and then grade the rest of the weekend and try to have it graded, and then scanned and emailed back to you by the Monday or the Tuesday following. So for that first test that has a deadline of June 7th, you should see your grade and a scan of your graded test by, let's say, June 9th or 10th. I believe in as quick a feedback as possible. I don't want you making the same mistakes on future tests, and I'm hoping that you'll learn from your mistakes instead. So I'll try to get that back to you very quickly throughout the summer. Now, you'll notice every 2 weeks you start new content. So weeks 3 and 4, beginning June 9th, you'll be working on sections 5.7 through 6.4. The homework for those sections will be due at midnight, Saturday, June 21st. Now, because of the Juneteenth holiday, campus is closed June 19th. And because of that, I didn't want to deprive you of one day in the testing interval. So I've extended that test. Instead of ending it on a Saturday, I ended it the following Monday. So instead of dropping by on Saturday, I'll try to drop by around 3 o'clock that Monday to pick up all of the available tests and try to get them back to you as soon as possible after that. The next testing period is similar because it has a holiday of July 4th in it. So you'll notice that the homework is always going to be due midnight Saturday. So the homework's going to be due midnight Saturday, July 5th. However, because of the holiday in there, I'm extending the testing period through the following Monday of July 7th. So you'll have from Monday, July 1st to Monday. Ooh, I bet that's July 8th. I bet that's a typo there. So I may have to fix that there, but it'll be Monday to Monday. Yeah, yeah. So whenever we have the last test period, it'll be going over sections 8.2 through 10.6. And something I should also say, if you're working ahead in the class, that's fine. These homework sections are going to be open all summer long. It's just that they have due dates, but nothing says that you can't work them before the 2 week period begins. So if you get your test done early on a Monday and you say, well, I want to go ahead and start the next period testing, or sorry, the homework for it, you can certainly do that. The test won't be available for this fourth period until July 14th through Saturday, July 19th. And then the final exam, the last 2 days, the Monday, Tuesday of the last half week of our summer session, will be on there as well. And then that optional final exam is just used to replace a lower test grade from one of the earlier 4 tests. In fact, it's just a collection of problems from the earlier tests anyway. So it's nothing. It's not a test that's independent of itself. I just choose similar problems to earlier tests. And you can see that on my practice test that I have posted. Now, let's see. As far as other things, the Achieve Homework platform. You'll notice here I have the Achieve ebook and homework management system. If I click the Achieve Home button, now notice on mine it's automatically going to open. If yours does not open, it's because you have pop-ups on the page. So you may have to go up here to your address window and allow pop-ups to Macmillan Learning. So if for some reason you're clicking that, and I get emails from students all the time, hit your link to Achieve, but nothing happens. It's like, nope, something's happening, but your computer browser is blocking it. So allow pop-ups from Macmillan Learning, and you'll be fine. And it'll come up right like this. Now, you can see the first 4 chapters right here. If you wanted to go into that, you certainly can. So anything in there. But as far as us, we should really be starting in chapter 5. I do have that first day training assignment as well. Now, this is the course content view. In the course content view, you can see what the section from the book, you can see the summary from the book, then you can see the assignment. So it's nice if you want that. Myself, I'm prefer to go by the assignments view rather than the course content view. They both have all of the assignments, but this just shows you specifically what is graded. And then if you wanted to go to the book, you can always go over to your ebook and just click that separately and view whatever sections you needed from there. I prefer the assignment view and then using the ebook like this. So I would strongly recommend viewing by assignment so you know that you never miss anything that's going to be graded. As you go down through here, you'll see the very first thing that's due is the training assignment that's due June 1st. Then we have our homework assignments 5.1 that's due June 7th, 5.2. Well, everything 5.1 through 5.6 is due midnight, June 7th. And then the next section of homework 2 weeks later would start at 5.7 and go through 6.4. You'll notice 5.7 through 6.4 all has the due date of June 21st. And then the 7.1 through 7.7 homework assignments due July 5th. And then the last section of homework, 8.2 through 10.6, due July 19th. Now, as you go into a homework assignment, obviously you'll just click on the assignment for the section and it should pull right up. Now, I'm on an instructor account, so this will be a little different from what you'll see. This pulls up from the building of it, but whenever you click 5.1, here's how yours will load. So when you click 5.1, you'll see the prompt to open the assignment. You have unlimited attempts, unlimited time, no penalty for incorrect answers. So I know some people who use this platform will penalize students. You lose like 5% every time you answer a question wrong. In this class, you can answer a question as many times as you want, and as long as you get it right, eventually you'll get 100% credit for it. Now, some of the problems here will just have a little media that it has a video where you need to watch it to get credit for it. And you'll just hit play on the page and it'll give you an explanation of, and this is trying to get you to understand that the integral is the area under the curve, and the area under the curve can be best represented by an infinite number of rectangles as you put those rectangles from left to right. So that's what some of those first ones are trying to do. But as you go on down through here, you'll see some of the questions. This one's a summation notation question. As I go on down, yes, and well, I started to call that an infinite series. This is a finite series where you'll use your series summation formulas to find the sum. And again, if you struggle with any of those problems like that, all you would have to do is go back to Brightspace, and it's in two places. If you only need to see the written work for the problems, then you would go to scan of work from Achieve Help videos. And for like my 5.1, notice this was problem number 20 of 29. If I just needed to see the written work, I would scroll to number 20. And there's a very similar, notice how similar it is. So the problem on this assignment was the summation from j equals 0 to 57 of j times j minus 1. The problem I worked out in my homework assignment was the summation j from 0 to 51 of j times j minus 1. So extremely similar. You're just going to replace 51 with a 57 in your problem. So pretty nice in that case. Now, let's say other problems are more confusing than that one and you need more support than just a written work. Then you would go back to content and you would go to my Achieve Help videos. And now with Zoom, um, now I have a paid Zoom account, so I can make these Zoom videos as long as I want. But previously, when I made these, I was using the free Zoom accounts, and it would sometimes cut me off if I took too long. That's why you'll see these videos are kind of blocked off. I did 5.1, 1 through 10, then 11 through 20, then 21 through 29. I wanted to make sure I got the video done and that it didn't cut me off mid problem. So if I was looking at one of the hard problems in 5.1, I'd go to the problems 21 through 29. And you'll notice what I tried to do when I was doing my Achieve homework assignments is I would I have the written work underneath the problem, and I try to explain it as I show you the problem on Achieve that I'm working. Hopefully, you'll find that beneficial to your doing the problems. And again, I think you'll find the problems extremely similar to what you're assigned. Hopefully, they're never the same. I think occasionally they might be the same, but it's not going to happen very often, hopefully. Now, so that's there. You'll have the Achieve homework assignments. And like I said, I have the videos for each of those, or if you just prefer the scan, if you don't need to hear the video and just see the scan of the work, that's there too. Lecture videos here, preferably before you even try the 5.1 homework assignment, you would watch my video of me explaining the content from 5.1 and do the same for every section. I would ask that when you watch these lecture videos, rather than going to YouTube to watch them, I'd prefer you to watch them here within Brightspace. You can still maximize the screen and all of that stuff. But the reason I ask you to watch them here in Brightspace is because it enables me to see that you've watched the lecture video and how long you spent watching the lecture video if you watch it in Brightspace. If you opt to go out to YouTube, then it doesn't show me anything other than you've accessed the page. It doesn't show me that you've watched the video or how long you've watched it or anything like that. So if you want me to know that you're watching the videos, then please watch them in Brightspace. Now, that's just kind of an FYI for me. Do I force you to watch all, like, let's assume that that first video is 47 minutes. So what if I see that you only watch my first video for 2 minutes instead of all 47 minutes? Am I going to dock your grade for that? No, you're an adult. You can decide what you need to do to be successful for the class. So I hope that you find it helpful to watch the video. But if for some reason you don't watch it all, it's not going to hurt your grade. The only things that you're graded on are your performance on the homework and your performance on the tests. Um, Now, things like watching videos on here, it helps me see that a student is putting forth effort in the class. But as far as hurting grades or anything like that, certainly won't do that. What I was talking about earlier with the practice test, for every test that you have, I've already posted a very similar practice test. So your first test will look almost identical to this, except of course it won't say exam one practice. It'll say exam one covering 5.1 through 5.6. You will also have the four summation formulas right here. This lets you see, oh, okay, he's not going to force me to memorize those. As long as I know how to use them, I'll be fine. Now, other things. Number three, it's finding an R4 approximation for this integral. That's a right-hand approximation. That's finding the answer to an integral using geometry. A similar problem on your test, I could put L4 for a similar integral. I could put M4. I could change the number of rectangles. It not necessarily four. It could be three. It could be five. I doubt I'd ever go more than five because it starts to get tedious the more you break them up. But So the number there of rectangles could change. The rectangle rule, whether it's right hand rule, left hand rule, midpoint rule, could change. But the type of question is going to be the same. I promise for number three. Your number one, what am I looking for there? I'm looking on that problem. I want you to know that you need to do algebra before you do calculus. So before you can go in and start using your integral power rule, you have to distribute and divide that x into each term in your numerator. So a similar problem that I could put on an actual test might be where I have you multiply. I could put two binomial expressions, foiling them out and making sure you understand you have to FOIL those first before doing the calculus integral power rule. So both of those. Now, some students would say, well, that's not the same problem. I'd say it's exactly the same problem. Whether it's a division problem or whether it's a multiplication problem, the concept is the same. You have to understand that to do algebra before you can do the calculus. That's how my problems will be similar. Your last two problems, you'll see the word problem where I have you find the displacement. On a problem like that, I'll change the velocity function, change the amount of seconds for motion. It's displacement and total distance travel. But again, I would just change the velocity function and the time, and it'd be a very similar problem. Same thing for the last one. Any type of application problem, it'll be a very similar application. I'll change the numbers in it, making sure you can work it independently of the problem that I've done there. Let's see here. So talked about the practice test. With those practice tests, um, I have written solutions for all of them, of course. And then if the written solutions aren't helpful enough, then you'll see a video solution for all of them, where I'm explaining what I'm doing throughout the problem and stuff like that. And that's for every test that we have throughout the semester. So we've talked about the Achieve homework book, or a homework and a ebook, I should say. The Achieve help videos, the lecture videos, the practice test, test solutions. There's nothing here yet because we haven't had tests. Once we do have tests, I'll post the solutions that I wanted for each of your test questions here. That way, whenever you get back your scan of your graded tests, instead of just saying, well, gee, I wonder what he wanted on this one. What did I miss? You'll be able to compare your graded test with the key that I post online showing you what I wanted for each of the problems. The PowerPoint notes I talked about are right here. This is just what the author has for each of the sections in the chapters if you wanted to look at those. Scan of my Achieve help videos. This is if you don't want to sift through my video to see my solution to a particular problem and think it's enough just to see my written work for it, then you would scroll through this and get to what you need a little more quickly. But again, if this isn't helpful enough, then you would have to go to the video, or hopefully go to the video to be of more help. Let's see here. Notes from lecture videos. So if you wanted to see the written work for each of the lecture videos, some students write down as they're watching my videos. You can do that. There's no need to, though, because if you want to see everything that I talk about in my lecture videos, they're all posted right here for you. And then after that, let's see. Your book. If you just want to see a simple scan of your book, I have all of those right here. Your nicer ebook is obviously posted here within not within Brightspace, but within Achieve. So it has the nice ebook right here that has all of the sections that you can go to. And a little more interactive. It's got the table there that you can select the section. And I think my internet's a little slow because of the Zoom. It shouldn't take that long to load. Come on. While that's, oh, I bet that was slow to load because it was loading the scan of the PDF of the ebook over here. So this is our section 5.1 in the ebook. Notice it does appear a little bit different, but the content is the same. I actually prefer the way the physical text and the scan of that looks as opposed to how the ebook looks. You'll notice 5.1 approximating and computing area. If you started reading the words on that page versus the words on this, it's exactly the same thing. I like the way this looks a little bit better myself, but it's whatever you're comfortable with that's important. The other nice thing about the scan is if you just wanted to print out a few pages for your own use later on, it's easier to print the scan of the book rather than the ebook posted online. Um, Now, if you wanted to see the problems out of the physical textbook that I worked, these are not assignments for you guys. But if you went to the end of section 5.1 in the book and said, hey, I wonder what problems he would have assigned to his traditional class that's using a book, I would have assigned problems 1 through 9 odd, 13 through 59 odd, and number 67. You'll find that that's extremely similar to your assignment on Achieve, but this would give you some additional problems to look at and my solutions to those problems. And again, if you wanted to see, well, where's the problem that he's working, you can go to the end of 5.1 ebook right here. And like if I scroll to the end of that section, yeah, here we go. You'll see the problems pop up through here. Number 15 is finding the L4 approximation to the square root of 2 minus x from 0 to 2. So you'll see I did that right up here. My number 15, the square root of 2 minus x from 0 to 2. I drew my 4 left-hand rectangles, and then I put the left-hand rectangle approximation over here, and I got to the answer. So that's posted there if you want it as an additional resource. Now, you'll notice I didn't assign all of the problems in this section. I'm not evil. That would take forever to work all of them. But if you wanted to see even more problems than what I would have assigned to my class, I have the author's solutions manual, which posts all of the odd solutions throughout each of those. So if there's some other problems in through there that you say, well, he didn't work that problem, I'd like to see it, then you can go to the author's solutions manual. You'll notice that the author's solutions manual, they'll skip some steps and they won't show their work as well as I do. But I think you can still, work with it and get a good understanding of how to do the problems from it. The only other thing I'll talk about here, grades. You'll notice I have the grades. If you click on here, 40% of your grade will come from your Achieve grade book. I won't post that until the very end of the semester. You can always look on your grade book on Achieve though, and at the very end of the page, it should show you where you're at as far as your percentage. Now, as far as your test grades, after each of our 2-week periods and our deadline for the exams, and you'll see the deadline for the first exam is the 7th. The second one is going to be the 23rd. The third one is the 7th. The fourth one is the 19th. And then we have the optional final exam on the last 2 days. But I will post those grades here. I'll take the top 4 of your 5 test grades. That'll be worth 60% of your grade. However much or whatever grade you have from your homework will be worth the other 40% of the grade for the total semester grade. All right, guys, I'll stop with that. If you can think of any questions, please feel free to contact me. Remember, jwlam@pstcc.edu, or you can text me at 865-604-2199. I look forward to working with you this summer, and I hope that this is a fantastic class for you.